This being Diwali time, I suppose we had to go there.
A typical small town city where you dream but you don't know how to fulfill them.
तो डॉक्टर तो नहीं बनना है.
डॉक्टर तो नहीं बनना ये बहुत क्लियर था. एंड सो आई थॉट कि डॉक्टर नहीं बनना है तो दूसरा ऑप्शन ये होता है कि इंजीनियरिंग कर लो.
Right.
एज अ किड आई वाज अ very enthu and passionate around the technology, and I think becoming pilot was also one of that reason. Plus you were not allowed to dream that big immediately when you have no one around you who has done that, right? It was very struggling for first few years, and that's when I started spending a lot of time with Amit, who was running his own business.
Bose, of course, like you said, is that aspirational brand globally. Noise is the mass aspirational brand, like.
True.
Right, and when you two come together, so the problem which Bose perhaps was trying to solve and couldn't solve, and that was to reach out to the larger Indian audience.
True.
Which you understood, you had cracked it already, and now the two of you are together.
That's true. That's the exact story. That's the real one.
Okay. From flying planes to building India's #1 smartwatch brand. Completely bootstrapped. Meet Gaurav Khatri, the Bikaner boy who turned aviation turbulence into tech triumph. When his dream of becoming a pilot crashed, he did not just pivot. Gaurav, along with his cousin Amit, launched a revolution. Today, Noise dominates with almost 1/3 market share and sits among the top 3 global wearable brands. Here's the kicker. He did it with zero VC money until Bose came knocking with a $30 million check, valuing Noise at $420 million. From 2,000 crore revenue to partnering with a 96-year-old audio legend, Gaurav's rewriting the D2C playbook. Buckle up for this episode of Rolling with the Boss with me, Abhishek Singh. This founder is just getting started.
Rajnigandha presents Rolling with the Boss Season 2. Luxury partner Lexus.
यूं ही नहीं ताज बन जाता है. शिल्पकारों का हुनर और चुनिंदा संगमरमर ताज को नायाब बनाते हैं. कुछ ऐसे ही चुनिंदा जगहों से बस खास ही चुनकर लाता हूँ. कतरे कतरे को मैं हीरे सा परखता हूँ. यूं ही नहीं मैं रजनीगंधा बन जाता हूँ.
Even in studio with like 3 ACs on. See, my entire forehead. I start sweating very soon.
I've been fortunate with that way.
Or
I feel more cold.
Right. So I am at home and very comfortable in Ladakh.
I'm very comfortable in Rajasthan.
Having said that, let's move on from me. Let's talk about
Absolutely.
you. All the noise that we should be making inside this car should be about noise and should be about
Absolutely.
very busy days for you because this is just before Diwali.
So yeah, I think there is a process already set in the business. There's a large team who's sitting to get this work done. So not that much of panic, some stabilization for sure, but always exciting to be in festive season, and always great to see how the sales are happening, how the stocks are moving, all that last moment hustle of stocks not coming on time and deliveries not happening on time. But yeah, it's an exciting phase.
Yeah. And do you, I mean, I'm sure initially, in the initial years, you must have 2014, 15, 16. Now do you keep an eye on the number that closely?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that probably has not changed in our system is that the numbers get checked every day. We've created a very sophisticated dashboard which reflects everything in one place, so you know what is going right, what is not going right. But yeah, I think businesses is very well stabilized with the teams that we have built in recent past. In last 3-4 years, I think there's a drastic change in the leadership that we have built, the quality of people that have come in the business. So much more, I would say, stabilized view, but otherwise it's fun.
Right. And between you and Amit, who is more into numbers and who's more into people, who's more, into what needs to be done from the point of view of positioning, perhaps marketing? How do you divide the responsibilities between the two brothers?
So I'll be the earlier one. I'm the one who is more into numbers, sales. So how do we normally, when people ask us how the work is divided, we say that his responsibility to ensure the goods come in the warehouse. My responsibility to ensure the goods does not remain in the warehouse. So sales comes to me, product and development and people comes to him.
Okay.
Anything around sales, marketing and ensuring reaching out to the customer is my department. So that's how we've divided the work.
Although, I mean, it's all practice. You've seen this a few times. You've been doing this for 10 years. But right now, like, what's a typical day for you like just before Diwali? Because we're talking about massive numbers, right? In terms of, whether it is direct to customer or through whatever other e-commerce platforms, whatever products you're selling. We will talk about some of the big launches which are lined up as well. But having said that, like, what's that typical day for a business which is in this space, consumer electronic space like?
So I would say more than Diwali, this phase is of a 3 to 4 month. A month where you start closing your plans with the partners, where you start aligning what kind of pricing offers and inventories that you would need depending upon what kind of conversation you have and all the stuff. A month goes into that. And another month is all the chaos of getting inventories, planning it on time, ensuring the POs and from the partners and stuff comes. All that supply chain works smoothly. The third month is primarily the distribution where you need to ensure all your goods reaches to the partner on time, which means because Diwali, if you normally see the big sales event is technically 30 days before the Diwali.
Right.
So for us, the Diwali season starts exactly 35 days before the Diwali when the first sale, the VBD or the Amazon Festive sale starts coming in. So that's the time when the main chaos starts. So the first 7 days of that event is the primary, the most busiest day for any sales team in our organization for the entire year.
Okay.
Post that, I think it starts becoming stabilized where your inventories are already sorted, the sales are already happening. The last phase, for an example, what is going right now is around the corporate orders, where a lot of giftings happen. Then you get last moment queries. All your friends are calling you, oh, I need this noise stock, I need that noise stock. So yeah, sorting that piece out. But primarily, I think your period has already passed. It's more stabilized period now.
Yeah. And what is that one thing which everybody's asking for? Like, what is that one product which everybody's asking for, which you get most chase for, most queries are coming in for? Because there are some key partnerships that have happened. I mean, if we'll talk in detail about the Bose partnership and the products which are going to come out, on that front. But what is selling like hotcakes right now?
So it's both. I think watches in the truly wireless that we pioneer in, both are doing very well for the corporate season. Typically fits into the budget of, less than 5,000. That's the corporate budgets normally are there for the giftings. So our portfolio sits very, very well in the gifting space also. So primarily both the categories does well. This year, because of the Bose partnership that we have done, overall halo of the brand has really, really uplifted in the audio category also. So there is a huge demand that is coming on that side of business also. Even though wearable is the bread and butter or the largest portion of our business.
Right.
So yeah, audio is catching up. Wearable has been already doing very well.
Okay.
यूं ही नहीं ताज बन जाता है। शिल्पकारों का हुनर और चुनिंदा संगमरमर ताज को नायाब बनाते हैं। कुछ ऐसे ही चुनिंदा जगहों से बस खास ही चुनकर लाता हूँ। कतरे कतरे को मैं हीरे सा परखता हूँ। यूं ही नहीं मैं रजनीगंधा बन जाता हूँ।
And one of the reasons, generally the conversation on the show starts on a very different note. It usually starts on something to do with personal life. But like I said, talking to somebody who runs, the company which sells, which has one of the biggest market shares in the smartwatch space. And of course, there are headphones and then earphones and so on and so forth. And this being Diwali time, I suppose we had to go there. But having said that, you're a Rajasthani boy, Bikaner, until about 17 years of age,
more or less, yes.
You were in Bikaner. Let's start there. Let's start before 17. Tell us about, growing up in Bikaner. What was that like?
So, I come from a very middle class background.
Family of doctors.
Yeah. My father was doctor. My mom was teacher, just like yours. She was in Rajasthan government teacher. Both were busy parents, solving for the family, busy always with whatever they were doing. So, but primarily a typical small town city where you dream, but you don't know how to fulfill them. Right. So that's the journey I would say I also had when I started. Your aspirations would come from anything and everything that you probably read in the newspaper or the magazines or the TV shows that in our time used to be there. So you just get inspired by the things that these people were doing in the modern town. छोटे शहर में रह के आप यही सोचते हैं यार दिल्ली में ये हो रहा है, बॉम्बे में ये हो रहा है.
Correct.
But a child was a typical पढ़ाई कर लो, do something around engineering and doctor. I realized doctor is not something that I'm
वही
going to.
पूछना था मुझे कि ये कितना obviously when your father is a doctor, mother is a teacher, डॉक्टर इंजीनियर का ऑप्शन तो आ ही जाता है. इन योर केस तो और भी ज्यादा होगा because father was already a doctor.
Father was doctor, sister was doctor. So my elder sister was doctor. She's still the doctor, but I realized it quite early in my time that science, bio specifically, is not something that I connect well with. Then chose
so डॉक्टर तो नहीं बनना है.
डॉक्टर तो नहीं बनना, ये बहुत क्लियर था. एंड सो आई थॉट कि डॉक्टर नहीं बनना है तो दूसरा ऑप्शन ये होता है कि इंजीनियरिंग कर लो.
राइट.
सो स्टार्टेड विद PCM in that. I come from an Air Force school where all these Air Force servants used to have their kids there in our school every year. There, कभी कमांडो के बच्चे, कभी
Air Force personnel, जो भी base होगा आसपास, I guess.
All that kids used to be around us. So we used to see a lot of people from Air Force background used to come in. So always दिमाग में ही रहता था यार, pilot is a thing, but didn't know too much about it. So plus you were not allowed to dream that big immediately when you have no one around you who has done that, right? Parents had no knowledge, how do you do that and stuff. So typical started with a PCM, wanted to do engineering. Just after giving my IT exam, I realized it's much tougher than what I was assuming. And I've been always that one kid who is very curious about doing things differently and understanding different perspective of anything that is happening around me. For an example, in career, I didn't want to do engineering just for the sake of engineering from any random college when I knew that I'll not be able to crack IIT. Is that the time when I thought, can there be something around?
But knowing yourself so well at the age of 17, that kind of self-awareness, that's rare. Because at 17, generally people get pushed, whatever direction you push them in, a kid at that age, chances are whether he fails or he succeeds, he'll keep struggling there, and remain stuck there.
Yeah. So I would say in my case, what has worked for me was that my parents allowed me to do a lot of experiments throughout my life since my childhood.
So 17, you decide pilot banna hai. And then how did Philippines happen?
There was a place where the training used to happen. That was probably the place which we could afford to get into. The whole world was traveling to US and Europe somewhere, but Philippines was not a bad location to start with and the rightly priced for us to start with. And I finally found someone who was doing this training and just got his thoughts and realized, chalo yaar, let's go to Philippines and let's try. So till 17, I did not even stepped out of my city, other than just meeting your cousins in some other cities, but technically never stepped out to travel or roam around. So technically moved directly from Bikaner to Philippines in just one go, and whole world changed then.
Right. Between the two of us, it is definitely clear, like who was a tourist to Rajasthan and who's actually a Rajasthani boy, because we're sitting in the backseat of the car, AC is on full blast. Even your AC has been turned towards me. You've been kind enough. You haven't broken. I don't see a single bead of sweat anywhere. And yes, t-shirt, forehead, everywhere. I'm sweating.
That's part of, and that's how we have been incubated, I would say. Right?
Yeah. Acha, so Bikaner, Philippines, you get your commercial pilot license, and the reason for that was because getting a commercial pilot license in India at that point in time was definitely costlier than Philippines.
India, there were not many good colleges or the schools, I would say the training schools weren't there. It was a very lengthy process at that point of time. So I think I chose Philippines, that it will be faster for me, much more smoother. It was much advanced than what it was in India back then, and US was not an option because of just generally the kind of cost it was bringing up. So chose Philippines as a point of training.
Right. And generally what happens is those who go out want to stay abroad, work abroad, and maybe later on, if they decide to, if they change their mind, come back. And that rarely happens, you know. So you were in Philippines, you came back to India though.
Yeah.
And that was also that time when the aviation sector in this country was going through a bit of a turmoil.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that phase, coming back with that, commercial pilot license. You came back to India, and then what happened?
So I came back within 1.5, 2 years and started clearing the exams in India. Also, you have to transfer your license from an international license to an Indian license as well.
Right.
So spent almost a year there here, cleared all my exam, got my license very, very early. Probably the first one to get in from my entire batch who was studying in Philippines and all. So I was very, very fast learner there as well and learned it very quickly, got it. The license was very fast with me. But then I realized, I think the industry was like that the Kingfisher was going through its bad time, Jet Air was struggling, Air India was struggling, and there was no Indigo, SpiceJet was very young. So there were hardly any jobs for young pilots or pilots with no background of aviation or no connection in the aviation industry who can help, who could help me to get on the right places to find out. So I think it was very struggling for first few years. And that's when I started spending a lot of time with Amit, who was running his own business. So I started spending time with him because घर पे बैठ के कुछ करना तो है नहीं. So better that I'll just go in his office and sit down and use his free internet and laptop to do whatever I can learn and whatever I can explore. So around his business and stuff. So started my journey there. Spent like a year, 2 years to figure out what can be done because things were not happening in aviation. Let's find out something around जो बड़े भैया कर रहे हैं. Let's find out if there's anything that I can also do.
Yeah. Is that how you refer to him as, by the way, bade bhaiya? Like generally?
Always. I call him bhaiya still.
Because there's a gap of what, 10, 11 years?
10 years. So that's how it is. So as a kid, I was a very, very enthused and passionate around the technology. And I think becoming pilot was also one of that reason that, you are surrounded with the best tech and you always read. So I was always reading about all these new things that are happening around us. So, two things married at a right time. One, I was very, very fascinated about technology. Technology doesn't mean the hardware side of it कि आपको headphones खरीदने हैं, आपको speakers खरीदने हैं, आपको smartwatch खरीदने हैं या कुछ भी एक gadget खरीदना है.
Sure.
But it was also around the technology, how it is coming in our life. So internet was something that I was very, very fascinated with. I was probably very young ones in our family and my friends who had the access of internet and was learning a lot of things on the internet. I learned e-commerce very quickly, understood the consumers' patterns across the world are shifting from offline to digital, and probably that I picked up early and could understand it early. I realized that the kind of brand that we should have it in India are not there.
It's rather counterintuitive in the sense that that space, I mean, even now, if you ask somebody, that consumer electronic space, that's so saturated. There's such big established players. And now you're, of course, getting there as far as noise is concerned. But back then, I mean, you have the Chinese imports which are coming in. Those who want cheap stuff, headphones, watches, whatever they want. It's available at very, in terms of prices, low end, right? And then you have established brands. You had Samsung, you had, other consumer electronics brand, you had other smartwatch brands. Why would you get into that space where the guy that you're fighting, A, is already established, B, is big enough to crush you, even if you, become slightly big, and C, timing. Was it the right timing for you guys at that point in time?
No, absolutely. If you see the three things, you said the time.
Yeah.
I would say we were at a perfect time.
Because offline to online transition.
Offline to online transition. Number two, you said that there were traded brands, the cheap Chinese knockoff were available in this country with no brands technically. Second was all these global brands that you spoke about, right? Those were available.
Yeah.
But if you understand, there was no brand that was solving for the Indian consumer.
Right.
We all were consuming the products that were made for the global audience, were retrospectively fitted into the Indian audience, and asked them to purchase at a price that these people wanted. But Indian audience, that the background that I came from, the kind of aspiration that I had, I could understand probably better. I would say that a typical tier 2 and tier 3 city audience, that how do they think, what do they think before buying, how important is price for some people, how important is feature for some people, how important is brand, and how important is the design for some people. So all these things were not catered by one single brand.
Right.
We started becoming that brand, and I think that was the point of incubation where we were speaking about what does this young brand, what does this young audience need, number one, and how do we give the plethora of products or technology or whatever they are looking for at a price that they can understand and afford.
Right.
So that was a time when we found out this gap. Of course, it was a risk. We could have failed. There were all giants who were sitting over us.
Yeah.
There were all cluttered trading market which was sitting below us. But I think we just took a punt on what we felt was right, that the audience of this country will require an aspirational brand who could solve for all these things that we spoke about. And I think that worked in our favor. That gave us more confidence that I think we understand the Indian consumer specifically much better than probably a lot of these large brands that there are, right?
Yeah.
So they are solving it for something different. We were solving it for the Indian consumer, and that worked in our play.
Now that you've become that brand, what is the aspiration for the brand now? What is the aspiration for you and Amit at this point in time?
Today, when I go out and when I speak to the larger audience outside, because Noise is participating in all the large tech shows that are happening across the world, there are patterns that we're picking up there, and it's probably the right time for a lot of Indian tech or a lot of Indian brands and different other categories as well to enter into different geographies beyond India. So I think our focus is also now shifting towards, but I think another lever that is coming into our business is going global and expanding to that audience or those countries who served us for the longest time are probably not creating enough consumer tech that probably their audience also needs.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we fulfill with the right set of partnership that has come in with Bose.
Right.
That allows us to be that trusted brand across the world to start doing the kind of work that we have done in India and start distributing there as well.
No, strategy-wise, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, partnering up with someone who has the credibility of Bose internationally, and then, of course, launching products in the international markets. And that deal was a bit of a, coup d'etat in the sense that I'm sure a lot of people in this space would have wanted that kind of a partnership, right? How did you guys crack it?
So honestly, if you ask me, the right answer for it will be very difficult for me to put it in words, but let me try. We were heavily focused on creating the tech by ourselves. We were heavily focused on, not being called out as, or probably getting into the direction of these typical traded brands that you're speaking about. So the way for us was to uplift our technology to the global level, right? And it's when we started exploring the partnerships with different folks. And I think when we spoke with the Bose and the kind of synergies we could understand, because they also wanted to go deeper into India and wanted to, of course, there's an Indian connection with that brand already, but not just because of that, but otherwise also in their strategy, also India is a very large market, which could be very, very potentially big opportunity for them. For us, we were decently doing well, bootstrapped, doing all right things rather than just doing things just for the sake of revenue. Probably the thoughts got married. And I think the strategy that they wanted plus what we wanted as a partner from somebody like of their stature worked really well, and I think that's when.
So first they came on board as an investor.
Yeah.
Took up about 2.5% of stake, right? Yeah. And now, of course, we're talking about all of these, synergies and so on and so forth. So first, was that a strategic decision?
I would say it was strategic discussion more than just a commercial discussion, because we were never unnecessarily looking for raising funds. And honestly, just 2.5% is not something that really changes a lot in our business.
Yeah.
It's more of a strategic partnership between the two brands where you both are getting merit to it and trying to solve for the larger purpose for this country, and not just this country, similar
Sure.
demographics like India. So I think we're now focusing on how do we take it up to the larger spaces beyond India as well. But it was about how do we uplift noise here, give the superior sound quality that this audience always aspired. At least when I was kid, I was always looking for a Bose headphone. That used to be like,
Yeah.
right?
It's the aspirational
It's the
product,
top
right?
aspirational
Yeah.
product that you would think of, and you would never think of buying it because of it's very expensive. You would not imagine कि यार इतनी जल्दी मिल पाएगा, ले पाएंगे, क्योंकि उसके लिए आपको साल भर की सेविंग लगानी पड़ेगी and all that stuff. And all that I had in my childhood.
Yeah.
I thought if this kind of a partnership works around, it'll be very easy for us for one, upscale noise as a brand. Second, upscale the experience of an Indian consumer who wanted to live that life, who wanted to have that quality of product from an Indian brand, to make it much more real in consumer mind. Also, these kind of partnership worked really well, and I think we just took that proposal and it just clicked.
Yeah. So that matrimony that you're talking about between Bose and Noise, that also makes sense on another level, and that is that Bose, of course, like you said, is that aspirational brand globally. Noise is the mass aspirational brand, like.
True.
Right, and when you two come together, so the problem which Bose perhaps was trying to solve and couldn't solve, and that was to reach out to the larger Indian audience,
True.
which you understood, you had cracked it already, and now the two of you are together.
That's true. That's the exact story. That's the real one.
Okay, I mean, I'm just like connecting dots, right?
Yeah, that's
And
true.
what would you like to say to some of the critics who keep saying that you can't, or at least so far have not been able to build world-class products in India for the world?
I would say, I think if that all would have been true, we would have never been able to partner with a brand like Bose, right? That's a testimony for what we have been doing. The world is, I would say, acknowledging that. And probably this partnership, what has come in last 1 year, is a great example for the quality or the brand aspiration that you talk about. I think we are on our path to upscale rather the brand experience altogether. So really not worried about how people think about the critics specifically, but overall, if you see, we are really, really focused on what we are building.
Right. So, a lot of entrepreneurs describe and call their businesses as their babies, right? So, we've been talking about this one baby of yours for a while. Let's talk about the baby who has come into your life recently, just 7-8 months ago, a daughter. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And how does that change things? Has anything changed?
I would say it brings a little more calmness. There is, I mean, for the longest time, the office work used to be everything for you, but now I think there is enough and equal importance that your baby or your family requires. Probably that has increased now from what it was before. But yeah, it's an exciting phase. So yeah, I think we're just enjoying that, trying to learn everything again.
Yeah.
From the perspective of a kid, how the journey normally is there for a kid. So just learning the parenting, I would say. It's a good experience going on.
Good experience, huh? So have you been on any diaper changing duties yet?
Absolutely, many times, almost every day.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, because they say, that is like probably the most difficult thing to learn, is it?
No.
Yeah?
It's fun to do, I would say. जब तक वो नहीं आया होता है तब तक आपको लग रहा होता है कि it will be a difficult thing or something. But the moment it is there and you're doing it for your baby, it's like a bliss.
Right. And I guess just like business, I mean, Amit became a father before you. So I'm sure, the little tips that you need, they come from there.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent a good quality of time with his kid as well. So the elder one he's still very, very close to me. So I've spent, in fact, it was his birthday yesterday. So I think I have a great bond with his kid. So for me, the training was already happening for the last 10 years.
Right.
So there is something that I picked up from there, of course, now trying to implement it as a father.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And talking about, the typical question, the division of responsibilities, uh, how do you do that, like fairly between you and the wife?
Whatever she says, I just follow it. I don't try and think about what has come to me or what I have to do. I'll just follow the
Yeah.
home is for her.
Right.
Whatever she decides has to happen.
Right. And how did you meet her? How did the marriage happen? Was it a love marriage? Was it an arranged marriage?
So our parents are family friends, and we just knew probably a little bit each other, and then parents also wanted it, and we just it was more of a arranged one, but we knew each other.
Right, right. Okay. And how's she adjusting to, Delhi, Gurgaon? I mean, things have changed for her dramatically as well. And more recently, right? So,
I would say I think she is taking it very positively. She is very entho about her work, what she do. She's into she's a cake artist. So she does all the designer cakes and stuff.
oh,
She's
wonderful.
busy there exploring her life around that. So it's just some 6 months break that she has got. But otherwise, she is much more busy than me in a day-to-day life.
Right. Are you the guinea pig for all her new recipes?
Most of the time, yes. that happens.
Yeah, yeah. And then, part of learning how to be happily married is, of course, to learn as well how to appreciate all of that effort and all of that is being done at home, right?
That's true. That's true.
Right, wonderful. So, in terms of things that you like to do, of course, I mean you're into gadgets a lot. We have spoken about it to some length, to some extent. But apart from when you're not really doing things from the work point of view, that you're not researching or you're not reading up what's happening in the world, etc., or looking at the numbers of business, what do you like to do?
Then it'll be around traveling or spending time with family at home, or maybe trying out some different sports that I keep on trying every year. So recently picked up pickleball. It's been just few months that I've started playing every day. I try have a regime of playing it for an hour or so. So enjoying that, but mostly it'll be family and travel, just for fun travel. So that'll be there.
Fascinating to hear this thing about pickleball because you're not the only one. I've heard it from so many. Of late, everybody's talking about pickleball, paddle. Like, what is it about the game which is so interesting?
I would say I think I don't know what is about the game, but it's much simpler than maybe a lot of people get offended by that. It's not that simple also, but generally it is easier one in terms of the moment and activities that you have to do. You can learn it little easy. Plus, not everybody around you is pro athlete around it, so you can play with them.
You can have some fun.
You can have some fun.
Yeah.
So it's a fun game, I would say, rather than a very professionally competing game for me at least.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game to learn, and whenever you learn new things, it's just exciting, right?
Yeah.
So it's as exciting as when I was probably playing the badminton for the first time and I was doing the coaching for first time or tennis for the first time. It's exciting like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've played some sport or the other all my life, and recently I've picked up table tennis like 2 months ago.
Okay.
And for me, the only reason I picked up table tennis is because if you have 35 minutes, 40 minutes,
That's a quick one.
that's all that you need. And, whatever you want to do it around that table. And then you don't have to go anywhere. Office, home, wherever you want, you can play. And you just need 2 people.
That's true.
Unlike the game we all grew up, loving it, that is cricket, which takes 6 hours to finish.
That's true.
Saves a lot of time, right? So that's sports. And when it comes to traveling, what are the kind of places that you like to travel to? So definitely not deserts, I guess, because when you're born in one, you've seen enough and most of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm not very, the question of mountains or beaches. I'm okay with both.
Yeah.
I'm in my mind space. I'm in a place where I just want to explore different places. Wherever, whether it is India, whether it is outside. So at least 2 to 3 trips in a year. If that happens, that'll be good.
Yeah. And what I noticed way back when we bumped into each other in your office, that was that you were not wearing any smartwatch. You did not have, anything on your wrist. I mean, you do have
A ring,
a ring there for sure. But like, are you tracking? Why don't you wear smartwatches? Or this today is an exception?
No, it was just on my charging desk. I just missed out.
Right.
But primarily on the ring. Ring captures everything for me. I think Luna is another brand that we have incubated, and a few months back, of my other year back now. A lot of great work is happening on that space also. So a health tech startup that where we are working very closely on building up.
How many rings have you experimented with, by the way, so far?
In terms of the different brands?
Yeah.
Almost all.
Almost all.
Almost all that
So,
exist.
which one would you recommend? Which one works
Of
the
course,
best?
Luna. No, but yeah, I think we are very, very sharp in this product. Really good experience that we are delivering to the consumers. It's a different passion project that we are running. But yeah, it's a great quality product.
You call it a passion project. Why?
I think because it has a different consumer set and positioning than the noise product or the noise consumer. This is not for a large mass audience. Rather, this is more global audience that we are targeting it to. And so this product itself is a $300 product that we are targeting, but it's more global first product because the kind of the value that it product has. Second, the kind of audience that this product has is not very abundant in India as such. So trying to explore that with a different thought process altogether. So that's more of a passion that we are running to create this.
Part of the bigger picture that you guys are trying to paint at this point in time, and which is, of course, the global picture.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That said, by the way, is there a plan? We were talking about this car. Are you into cars, by the way?
I'm not a big time, but I'm a little bit aware about what is happening.
You're into planes.
I wish I could be as much as I used to be, but
no, but there might be a plan, right? Like, to eventually, once we hit that kind of revenue, perhaps to buy a plane and you can fly it around.
Not yet aligned with that, but yeah, I'm keeping my license renewed every time. So maybe someday.
Yeah. What do you have to do, by the way? Is it just like a paperwork that you have to do?
No, so you have to fly for a few hours in a specific duration to keep it renewed. So to keep it active, you have to continue flying and do your stuff.
And where do you do that? Do you do that in India? Or?
In India.
Okay.
There are some schools that gives you that renewal trainings and stuff. So you go and keep doing that.
And what kind of plane do you have to fly for that?
So I flew a Piper Seneca, and earlier it used to be Cessna 152 and 172.
Right. So Cessnas. Okay. And in terms of the kind of planes that you have flown, I mean, how many different kinds of planes have you flown?
I've flown these three, Piper Seneca and the Cessna 172 and 152.
Right, because you actually
one is the twin engine and the two are the single engine.
Right.
The propeller one.
Right. And that's also because, you actually never started working as a commercial pilot with any organization. All right. I mean, that's wonderful. A pilot who decided to become an entrepreneur and, is excited about that. I mean, it's fascinating, the transitions that you've made. So wonderful. And we've spent some good 45-50 minutes talking to each other.
Yeah.
It was
fantastic, yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed
I loved it too.
Getting to know Gaurav Khatri better, the man behind the brand which is building in India for the world. And in a short span of 10 years, has managed to get from phone cases, that is what you guys started with,
True.
to smartwatches, to, of course, rings.
And rings, yeah.
So many different
partnership
options.
like Bose.
Yes, of course. So on that note, thank you so much, Gaurav, for taking the time and talking to us.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Lovely talking to you as well. Thanks.
Rajnigandha presents Rolling with the Boss Season 2. Luxury partner Lexus.